Hello class. Today I'm going to talk about the media's role in women in politics. There are three main topics that I will cover specifically. These include ways media obstruct women's representation in politics, the ways media can be a powerful tool for women, and lastly, rules that I would instruct a female candidate to practice throughout her campaign as it pertains to the media. The media has become a very important tool for politicians to use to gain uh, voters and to get their name out there. The media often hurts a woman's chances of winning an election because of the way that they cover the candidate. Now we will get into specific ways the media obstructs women's representation in politics. The first way media obstructs women is their use of gender stereotypes. As talked about in the lectures in the Murray book, there's a lot of evidence that media coverage of the candidates focuses on traits and issues presumed to correspond to the candidate's gender, even if the candidate has actually tried to promote herself in a non-stereotypical way. Gender stereotypes specifically pertain to the female's traits as a human being. Most of the candidates overtly feminine in their appearance were also attributed stereotypical traits. The only time this works to a candidate's favor, however, is when the use of femininity is used to offset the perception of being masculine. As we learned before, feminine traits alone are not considered sufficient enough for executive office. The second way media obstructs women's representation in politics is the unbalanced coverage that men receive compared to females. When men normally receive more media time than women do. An example of this can be found when Elizabeth Dole received significantly less media coverage than her competitor John McCain and George Bush. According to the article that I found from Rutgers University, George W. Bush in this 2009 race was mentioned 72.9% of all the articles they examined in their research. John McCain was the second largest, coming in at 33% of the articles, and Dole was mentioned last, and she received significantly lower numbers than McCain and George Bush. These underreportings of women candidates is significant because the candidates rely on media coverage in order to be considered viable. If the media decides to skip out on your coverage, it will kill your campaign. The last way media obstructs women is in their use of double binds. Throughout the Murray book, candidates were subject to these double binds, and it was not possible to solely blame the double binds for the reason why they didn't get elected, but the pattern was very convincing. Some examples of double binds is being too masculine or too feminine. This issue appeared to be the ultimate challenge of gender for women and candidates throughout the Murray text. The obligation to meet the masculine expectations surrounding executive office places women candidates in kind of an awkward situation. If a woman tries to remain feminine, the media will play it out to be a loss of credibility, with question marks raised over the viability and their ways of doing things. Another example of a double bind is a candidate being either too young or too old. This assumption is based on the women of childbearing age should be expected to sacrifice their career for their children, while older women are unpalatable to an electorate that does not value seniority in women. These double binds that female candidates find themselves in is generated by the media. The media constantly are putting females in this bind, along with the unbalanced coverage and the gender stereotypes. All of these are the ways media obstructs women in politics. Now we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about how media can be a powerful tool for increasing women's representation in politics. The first way I came up with was with the media covering women as a change or a fresh new look on things. And keeping this idea in mind, women who stand for executive office is usually the first woman to do so, so the media portrays a woman as a change or a break from the past. This frame can be positive for a female candidate because a country with a bad past is more likely to be accepting to change. Obama would be a clear example of this. He used words such as hope and change to elevate him to win the election ultimately. Another way the media could aid women in politics would be the absence of mentioning anything about appearance. An example of this can be found in a Sirleaf presidential race found in the Murray text. They rarely mentioned her appearance. The culture around that political race was held respect for older women, and that kind of played well into it too. Another article I read by Annie Rose Strasser, talking about Jane Smith, a female candidate running for political office. Jane says, "My appearance is not news. It does not deserve to be covered. Rarely do they cover men in this fashion. Doing so, they depict women in a less serious and having less to offer." So as you can see, the media does play a big role in the role in representing women in politics. The last part that will be covered is the 3 rules that I would enforce regarding media and my candidate's campaign if I had one. These rules would include maintaining a balance of femininity and masculinity, establishing credibility, and becoming likable from the media standpoint. If all 3 of these issues are portrayed through the media in a positive way, my candidate will have a successful campaign. I believe women are obligated to be masculine without sacrificing any femininity. So it has to be established with the media that you can be masculine and take on roles, but you're still not sacrificing your femininity, and creating like a balance between both of these, which is hard, but you would have to get that through the media. The second rule I would establish is establishing credibility with the media early on in a race. Voters must know that my candidate is truly qualified to take on such a big role. The candidate must tell the media of her professional background in order to establish this credibility. And once the public understands that your background, they will be able to know that she was intelligent, rational, and as capable as a man to take on this job. The last rule I would enforce would be to establish a likability trait about the rest of the pack that could potentially make the public admire you. Thank you, and thank you.